What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me, as always. The man did it again. Jimmy Butler goes berserk in Miami to take a 3-1 lead on the Milwaukee Bucks. Cost me quite a bit of money. We'll talk about that. We'll break down HIMMY Butler because he's really like that. Then the Lakers, LeBron, big-time clutch baskets down the stretch, cleans up the glass. Lakers handle business in LA. And we got to catch up with y'all, man. We haven't been on since the NBA playoffs started. We're about to break it all down. Maybe we might even squeeze in, if Nick allows me, we might even squeeze in a little Aaron Rodgers talk.
Who?
No catch up. Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's go.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
What's up, man? How we feeling?
Man, chilling.
See with the Action Network plug in the back.
Yeah, man, I had to shout out the guys, man. You already know. I got Lewis. You see Lewis? Hold on. Oh,
Sir Lewis. Yeah.
That's Sir Lewis.
It's crazy when you got to do that. You got to go the opposite. It's counterintuitive.
I know. It is. Yeah. It is. I got Lewis up there. HIMMY buckets in the corner. I don't think I'm going to move that. That's going to stay.
Lewis, those pants are clean.
Yeah, shout out Lewis Hamilton, man. You already know. You already know how we get with Lewis. Then, of course,
he's been enjoying his time off.
Got Madison Square Garden down there being built. Kobe, Jordan. You know how it is, man. Hey, man, I gotta ask you a question, man, because I've been getting messages, man. People disappointed in me. I'm rooting for the Knicks, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said, you can't be doing all that. You the
Why?
You a Bulls because you a Bulls guy.
Oh, that's ridiculous, man. You gotta if you have a reason to pick a squad in this year's playoffs, why not do it? You live out there. It's all good for you if the Knicks win, man. It means
it's all positive.
Because the city is active. You know what I mean? That's more stuff to talk about, man. That keeps the MSG keeps the MSG some checks coming into the establishment. Everybody's good, man. What do you mean? Everybody's happy. You're happy. That's the company, man. Company wins. We all eat.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to work at an unhappy workplace. Come on now. People don't
shout out the Knicks. They're doing their thing.
And it's dope to see the Knicks win, man. Like, look, I know we're going to talk about them, but just as a quick side, this is one of the most likable teams for me in the NBA. I love this Knicks team. Obviously, we're big Tibbs guy here. Obviously, Jalen Brunson from the crib. We love Jalen Brunson.
Yeah,
we love Randall, Quigley, all those guys. So I'm pulling for the Knicks too, man. I would have no problem if the Knicks were left hoisting the Larry O.B. at the end of this.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's jump into it. We got a lot to catch up on.
Hey, man, don't let them stop you, man. Come on, don't let.
Oh no, I'm not pressed. I did get some messages like, man, I didn't know you was going
to get your orange and blue, man. Go get your Knickerbockers blue, man. Wear that shit pride.
So Jimmy Butler essentially opens the game and tells you right away, I'm gonna have to do this shit by myself.
Yep.
He absolutely does that. Goes ballistic in the first quarter. You know what's funny, Nick? I think he deliberately took the third quarter off.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to need some energy down here to close this out in the fourth.
For sure.
He doesn't do anything. He scores a couple buckets in the second, couple buckets in the third. Very low-key. And then the last 6 minutes completely takes over the game along with Caleb Martin, who deserves his love as well.
Caleb Martin was incredible.
He was incredible.
Both sides of the ball.
Made a massive impact for the Heat. So, yeah, man, I got to shout Caleb out. How'd you feel about the game? How do you feel about the East at the moment? Where's your head at right now?
So a couple things on the game. Number one, I've said this quote on here before, and I've told you, and whenever I see a Butler performance, I'm reminded when Spoelstra said this. I think it was after a playoff game like 2 years ago, another game where Butler, it just went crazy. And they asked him about it, and they're like, some guys play basketball, right? Jimmy competes, and those are two completely different things. And every time I watch Jimmy out there, he's competing, bro. Like, Jimmy's not a hooper. It's not pretty. It's not graceful. It's not like hours in the gym perfecting this move or that move. It is grinding it out. It's picking his spots. Like you said, he took a couple quarters off But in the first quarter, when he needed to set the tone, and in the fourth quarter, when he needed to shut it down, he absolutely did that. Caleb Martin, out of nowhere, just two-way, just all over the place, whether it was hitting big shots for them or forcing a lot of turnovers. I thought defensively, Miami in the final half of the fourth quarter, or really in the fourth quarter, just went with this super aggressive, force the ball out of Milwaukee's hands, prey on their mistakes, get out in the fast break, and we're going to do our things. Yeah, we're not a great three-point shooting team. We don't have a bunch of guys that are going to fill it up on offense, but what we can do is we can play hard, we can play physical, we can play aggressive. We know that Giannis is hurting on the other end and the rest of their guys aren't doing shit. We don't care if Brook Lopez beats us, right? That's fine. We know Middleton's not going to do shit. We know he can't stop Butler right now. We can talk about that. We can put on Holiday all you want to, but there are several possessions where Middleton was getting cooked as well. And I think that they just realized that they could beat this team, and they turned it on. To me, I told you before we started recording, I thought Spoelstra ran coaching circles around Budenholzer last night. Like he really did. Again, just the defensive style that they were playing, the turnovers that they were forcing them into, the shots that they were giving them. It was classic Miami Heat game. And it's the same reason why everybody said all year, and even when I didn't believe it, everybody said all year, you just don't want to play this team in the first round because they're not going to quit, right? You were so confident that you put a bunch of money on the money line on this game because you thought that Milwaukee was going to roll in there. But Miami's just not like that. They're just not built like that. And it sounds cliche. We talk about Heat culture. It gets talked about ad nauseum, but it's true, man. These guys had zero quit. They came in the game with no quit. They were down. They didn't lead until 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the entire game, or however much time was left in the fourth quarter, right? Like they were down the entire game, but they never quit. But just the performance from Jimmy Butler last night, I don't think that we can say enough when you talk about a guy willing his team to victory and just like a true superstar and just a true alpha. So again, that line about competing, that sticks out to me. As far as what I think about the Eastern Conference, it's all flipped over now. I don't think Milwaukee wins this series. Like I'm very, very, very nervous about their ability to win this series. Can they win 3 straight? Absolutely.
Plus 125.
They need somebody else to show up that's not Lopez, and that person needs to be Chris Middleton. Like another thing you're going to get your flowers on is your incessant hate on Chris Middleton, because in this series, when there's been spots where we absolutely need him to show up, last night, right, needed him to show up in game 3, and he didn't in either spot. So
simple as that.
And for $30+ million a year, you can't just be a guy who fits in really nice when Giannis is playing well. You have to be a guy who can actually do something, right? Like all that complimentary shit is great when Giannis is at 100% and he's dropping 50. But look, man, there's going to be some games where we need you to put up 30+. They slow rolled him all year, right? All year so that he'd be ready for this point, and he's not ready. Call it what it is. He's not ready.
Just flat out. I mean, there's so many places that we could go reference in massive spots. Chris Middleton, nowhere to be found. If you would have told me we were going to get 30 before I put my bet in, because I had the Heat, I had the Bucks under for the series -1.5. So as long as it didn't go 7, the Bucks can win in 6. I had a big wager there. Then I had a money line lay on the Bucks and I had a money line play on the Bucks as well. I just thought there's no way they were going to lose. And without a historic performance from Jimmy Butler, they don't lose. So I'll take my medicine with Jimmy and do what I got to do. But if you would have told me that Brook Lopez was going to give us 30+,
36.
the Bucks, and they lost, it's just impossible.
36-11 from Lopez.
It's impossible. That's unfathomable that you would get 36 from Lopez and the Milwaukee Bucks would lose. Giannis got to the line 4 times. That's not enough, flat out. The fact that Jimmy Butler gets to the line the way he does is
whenever he wants to.
It's truly an art form.
Whenever he wants to.
It's literally an art form. And also, when's the last time you saw Jimmy Butler get fouled hard? You ever seen Jimmy get like wrecked at the basket and he's falling over?
Nobody's going for that.
Bro, but what I'm saying is that it's artful.
Yeah.
He's making this shit happen with little bumps and nicks.
He's the best in the league at getting to the line.
Oh, without
consistently, without a
question.
doubt.
Him
He
and
can't.
Dame Lillard,
Yeah.
it's insanity what they could do when they try to get to the rack. So if you'd have told me you were going to get 36 from Lopez, it has to be a win. Middleton, time and time again, he hit four shots from the floor and got murdered on defense.
Cooked.
If you would, it's just inexcusable for a guy that's making 30+ million and in big shots over and over again, or in big spots over and over again, can't get anything done. The Miami Heat are running out guys. Everyone is 6'3", and then there's Jimmy, and then Bam. And we don't even talk about Duncan Robinson. He's 6'5", but he's not. We don't even have to do that, right? So
but they play no bigs.
They play no bigs.
They play no bigs at all.
And they play no big. They don't play a big style of basketball in the slightest.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jimmy Butler. It was an all-time playoff performance. They were down 13 at the 8.5-minute mark in the fourth. Didn't matter. He came in, knocked it down. Jimmy Butler, this playoffs, 36.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists. Only MJ and LeBron have averaged 35, 5 and 5 on 50+ from the floor in the playoffs. Jimmy is shooting 63% from the floor. So
unbelievable.
It's just a ridiculous performance from Jimmy Butler. Now, this is something we've also been talking about. The Bucks are supposed to be a good defensive team. That's like something they hang their hat on, playing defense. What's going on? Why are the Miami Heat? They scored 130 in game one. You gave up 20 points almost to close the game in like the last 2.5 minutes.
They gave up 41 points in the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about here? I will say this. Budenholzer didn't give those guys a chance to reset or sit down and think about what was going on till it was already, the momentum was extremely flipped.
He's trying to do the Phil Jackson play
he
through.
He tried to play,
yeah,
let him play through it thing, and the shit didn't work. So
yeah.
It's an all-time performance from Jimmy Butler. The compete, not basketball thing is dead on.
It's dead on. Like when you really think about that, like he is out there. He's a competitor. Like that dude is. It's different. Like I put it on Twitter last night. Jimmy's operates at a different level than a lot of us. You know what I mean? To just it's. That was, yeah, I can't. I've seen 56-point games. I've seen 60-point games. But that performance last night is amongst the best I've ever seen in basketball in all my years of watching, as far as just the moment and what it meant. And there's other thing. They needed every single one of those 56, plus what he was doing on D. Look at those 2 late turnovers that they forced the Bucks in when they just smothered them as soon as they got inside the 3-point line. Smothered them, got the ball back, and hit them on the break. Caleb Martin's shot making. I mean, again, man, like Spoelstra's different. It's what they do in Miami is different. You talk about all that conditioning and body fat testing. In a game like that where you're taxing guys deep, you got Jimmy playing 31 minutes. I guess Miami really didn't. Only Jimmy played a whole bunch of minutes. Everybody else was under 30. Which is crazy because that was not the case on the Bucks side. But yeah, I mean, that conditioning, just the way they play, and just that grit, that aggression, man. And Jimmy, that shit passes through your leader, right? Like guys see Jimmy doing that, they know what the deal is. We can't patty cake out here. No and you question. Had a chance, and you go up 3-1. It's a whole different situation now. Right now, you got a chance to do this thing. And let's not pretend like this. A lot of these guys weren't on that team a few years ago that made to the finals. They understand the value of a playoff run. Fuck what we did in the regular season. These boys got to see us now. I wouldn't want to play that team. I don't know who they go to next, but I would want no part of that. If they win this series, I would want no part of that team. I think they get the winner.
They would get the Knicks. They would get the Knicks Cavs. Winner of Knicks Cavs.
Listen, get scary. Because before you know it, Miami's in the Eastern Conference Finals.
No,
and Knicks Heat will be awesome.
Knicks Heat would be great.
Awesome. Old school rivalry. Old school NBA rivalry. Pat Riley storylines all over the place. Riley coming back to the Garden.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Come on, forget about it.
Why don't we talk about Riley like he's on the coaching staff and he's on like the sideline?
He's there, man. He's there.
He's there. No matter. He's not there. He's there though.
It's
Even
Riley.
when he's
It's
not
Riley.
there, he's there.
It's Riley Spolstra, man.
Yeah, man.
And give Spolstra every single flower you have to give him because the man's a phenomenal head coach. All we talked about is again they can't score. They're not going to have any ability to score. Like I said, they put up 130 in game one, put up 119 last night in regulation.
It's just the awareness for me from Jimmy as well. He literally starts the game. They're probably down 20 points in the first quarter without Jimmy Butler doing
easy
a majority of what he do. And I think he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So he's like, let me come out and get these buckets ASAP because we're going to need every single one early. He goes out and cooks in the first quarter. Then you got to give props to Kyle Lowry. You got to give props to Caleb Martin because there was a stretch there even to start the fourth where Caleb Martin hit a big shot. Lowry got a steal, and it kept them in the game where it was reasonable, where Jimmy could actually come in and then close up the gap from 8 to 10 points. I'm going to tell you the play of the game, Nick. Caleb Martin goes to the basket, draws his 5th foul on Chris Middleton on that wild layup. On the very next possession, Jimmy misses a wide open 3. Wide open. Caleb runs from the other corner of the court, runs through the paint, picks up the rebound in the other corner, kicks it to Jimmy. Jimmy then draws a foul, goes to the line.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm tripping. Caleb gets the rebound, gets it to Jimmy. Jimmy gets it back to him. Caleb hits a deep 2 in the corner in Giannis's face and then covers up his face.
Yeah.
That was the sequence of the game outside of what Jimmy was doing.
But it speaks to the game. They got beat. They got out hustled. You got guards coming in and snatching offensive rebounds.
Any thoughts on Giannis not slowing it up? He went and got a late and one.
Yeah.
But someone had to step up. They had 5 or 6 offensive possessions in a row where it was a nothing. It was a nothing.
Yeah.
No type of calm down set, no type of relax. Let's get a good look. It was just a lot of panic and bad looks. Giannis trying to force at the rim. And nothing comes of it.
That's on Drew and Bud. You got to slow it down. You're the point guard. Giannis, that's how Giannis plays. Giannis has to play balls to the wall, but he's not your fucking point guard. Right. Yeah. I thought the turnovers that they had late were crucial. Like you could not turn the ball over in 2 spots in which you could not turn the ball over because Miami already had momentum and nothing like the one where Jimmy had the easy dunk off the turnover that you can't have that happen because then the next thing you know, the crowd is fucking going crazy. Guys are doing this and then it's bad for you. It's bad for you because now you got to go against that as well. So I thought, they absolutely need to slow it down. They need to get something going. But again, Giannis was only going to do so much last night. You needed it from Middleton. Like we need to put Middleton properly in this conversation. We need to frame him properly in this conversation, and that it was a massive letdown spot for him. Massive.
Yeah, man.
He needed to do something. You're the perimeter guy. You're the creator. Do something.
On one end or the other.
Yeah, pick one.
Pick one. Pick whatever end you want to
defend somebody or get a bucket, but don't just be there.
Yeah, facts. Some of those fouls were tough on Jimmy, but the guy's been drawing these all year. So
you know what he's gonna do.
No question.
You know what he's gonna do. Like again, man, we're not talking about a guy has a quote unquote bag. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy's game is not the bag. Well, I'm gonna pull in and hit you with this move that I've been working on. I'm gonna get the bucket. Fuck what it looks like. I'm gonna get the bucket. So if that means I'm barreling down there and waiting for you to foul me because I know you will, and I take up so much space because I'm fucking 6'7", fine. You know what I mean? If that's my little jumper, my little turnaround thing that I got, cool. But like what he's gonna do. There's no secret in this. The thing is, he does it harder than you.
Let's talk about the rest of the series. There's no way they go out and lose game 5, right?
If they do, obviously the season's over. But if they do, you will not see Mike Budenholzer on the sidelines at Milwaukee next year. There's no way. You can't.
So I don't think
This is why. Listen, man. This is why you can't fuck around when you have home court advantage for those first 2 games. You have to win the first 2 at home. You cannot find yourself giving up home court advantage, then fucking around and losing game 3, and now your backs are against the wall. Take care of business at home.
I honestly, I'm gonna speak very candidly here. I think Milwaukee might have messed up with the Giannis back contusion thing, where they tried, like, he could have went
game 3.
It's clear he could have went.
Yeah,
I mean, he looked great last night. Game 3, he doesn't go because they're coming off of a blowout, and they kind of disrespect Miami and think they could get the W with Giannis or no Giannis.
Yeah,
Giannis doesn't play, no problem. We should still be able to get the win.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like we did in game 2. And that put them in a bad, bad spot. Then they come out and essentially they're in a real good spot to win. Jimmy Butler happens. Well, but that's the type of shit that happens in the playoffs. If you had to pick, you'd pick Miami right now.
Of course. I mean, they're up 3-1. Yeah, that's a smart bet. Of course.
Plus 125, you can get the Bucks.
Oh, yeah. What is Miami? Minus 160?
I didn't see Miami, but yeah, probably something around that type of number.
That's actually like I mean, I was see him up 3-1 at minus 160 seems fair.
Well, Barkley on the TNT kind of laid it out. Like, they're not going to lose. Kenny Smith said the same thing. They're not going to lose the next game in Milwaukee. Then they just got to get the game in Miami because they're not going to get a game 7 back in Milwaukee, right? You wouldn't think. But
you wouldn't think.
You wouldn't think, but that's like Jimmy Butler time.
Oh, he would love that.
He would love a game 7.
I played college here. I know Milwaukee. I'm familiar.
Would love it. He would love a game 7.
He's gonna go to his little spot. Probably got a couple tingers up there. You know what I'm saying? He sees, does his thing real quick. Oh, I'm coming to see you, Megan. And then, and then he's gonna go get buckets. Like, you can't. Again, man, you can't. Doc Rivers said it after they swept the Nets. He goes, the guys told me you can't play with your food. Can't play with your food. This should have been food for the Bucks. And the game 3 sitting Giannis decision 100% is going to go down as a major, major, major mistake. I understand not playing him game 2 out of almost some abundance of caution. But game 3, if he looks like he could have looked in game 4, which I'm assuming he would have, right? It was probably just sore. You had to play him in that situation.
Especially being on the road. I mean,
you weren't up 2-0. They played it like they were up 2-0. I didn't like it when they did it because if they played it like they were up 2-0, not at an even series. And that's disrespectful.
And it's one of those things, look, we're obviously just giving our opinion on it. We don't know the injury report, right? Like, we don't know how hurt Giannis really is. But a back contusion, he went out in game 1 and came back. Yeah. It wasn't that serious of an injury.
No.
And I think part of it, they felt like they could get away with not playing Giannis and still win the series and get him a couple extra days of rest. And now their backs are up against the wall and they are completely jammed up the next 3 games. They got to win 3 straight. There's no mistakes. No mistakes can be made the rest of the series for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Boston got put out by Miami last year, correct? I mean, I'm sorry, Milwaukee got put out by Miami last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, all the more reason not to fuck around with or did Boston put out Milwaukee?
They played Boston.
They played Boston without Middleton. Boston. That's right. It was Boston without Middleton. That's right.
Yeah.
Miami beat Brooklyn and no, Boston beat Brooklyn, right? Boston swept Brooklyn.
Yeah, Boston swept Brooklyn. I'd have to look it up. I can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I have a hard time.
Miami got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Who did they beat? They beat Philly. Yeah, it was.
They beat Philly. Look it up. Look it up.
It was Miami. It was Miami and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. Remember, there was the Jimmy missed the shot.
Jay, wait, is that right?
Yeah, that was the one where Jimmy missed the shot. Missed the wide open 3 and Boston won.
Look it up. Confirm that.
Yeah, I got to remember how this happened.
Yeah, because I guess the Milwaukee Boston could have been the round prior without Middleton.
Yeah, it was Celtics Heat. Boston won in 7. Remember?
Yeah, you're right.
Boston won in 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who the Heat beat to get there. The Sixers. They beat the Sixers in 6.
Yeah, and that's when Jimmy was talking about they picked him over me.
They picked Tobias Harris over me.
They picked Tobias over me.
This guy is different, man.
Yeah, this guy is different, man. That is
different, dog.
Now is you're right.
Yeah, this guy. They picked and they beat the Bull. They beat the Hawks in the first round. They beat the Hawks in 5. They beat Philly in 6. They picked Tobias Harris over me.
This guy Jimmy
he's different, dude.
He's just playoff built, man.
He's playoff built. Isn't that what we asked for?
Yeah, we do.
Isn't that what we asked for?
All the time, actually.
That's what we asked for, right?
Be playoff built.
Be playoff ready. That motherfucker's ready. He's been ready every year. He's been in the playoffs in Miami.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. Let's
get Jimmy some help on offense, by the way, man. Get Dame over there.
Get Dame to
South Beach.
Get Dame to the East, period.
No, go to South Beach, man. You'll like it over there. Your wife will love it.
Let's
kids will love it.
To Memphis and the Lakers. Lakers get a big time W. Dylan Brooks is not talking anymore.
Not even
apparently.
Talking. Oh man.
I just saw him. He had a dunk at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Not yelling anymore. He's not doing none of that.
None of that woofing, man. LeBron broke him pregame. LeBron broke him pregame. Told him you talking too much, man. What's wrong with you?
You know what's funny? Let's talk about that moment. If you don't know what me and Nick are talking about, go on Twitter, type in LeBron essentially went over and talked to Brooks.
Had a word with him.
And there's this guy that does lip reading. I'm gonna find it. But you feel like it was a weird vibe the way he came over and talked to him. It was almost like a mentor type. It wasn't like LeBron was over there talking shit.
No, he's not going. LeBron wouldn't.
It was like
but it was his way.
Yeah, it was like
you don't need to be doing all this. Why? You know what I mean? Like he kind of sunned him.
Why? Hey, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
He sunned him. Like you don't need to be doing all this, man. You're bringing all this attention. You don't need to be doing all this, man. Just play the game. Then he goes, what do you say? You don't want this, or you don't need this, or something like that. It's unnecessary.
Would you call it backpedaling from Brooks? Or is it just like, oh, man. Dylan.
Oh, I think not speaking to the media last night is a soft move because you have a lot to – you can't – look, man, if you're going to be that guy in victory, be that guy in defeat, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
you got to own it. You know what I'm saying? And to duck out of the media yesterday is ridiculous, especially when you're not playing well. You should have never talked to begin with is what I thought. And that's not because, like, oh, he shouldn't talk to – it's just like – you just shouldn't have talked, dude. Like, it's not like it is what it is. Like, it was stupid. It was corny. It was very self-promoting. But, like, here's the thing. When you promote yourself like that, guess what? You put yourself right in there.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
For all this criticism. And you're in a contract year. I think it wasn't a smart move for that reason because now people are going to start looking at the fact that, hey, maybe this guy actually can't shoot and wasn't really that good this year. And it's kind of fallen off since his peak a couple years ago. And is another one of those guys that has, like, the Pat Bev reputation of running around and woofing, but is he actually defending anybody?
Is he actually doing anything?
Is he actually guarding anybody? Is anybody like, shit, man, I'm in for a long day because of Dylan Brooks? I don't think so. So you bring all that attention to yourself, right? You intentionally go after LeBron. Before the series, you say you want LeBron. During the series, you call him old. Every time someone puts a microphone in your face, you got something to say, right? Yeah. You bring a lot of attention to yourself, but then last night when the going gets tough and they want to ask you questions, you're not there to answer them. So, like, to me, that's a bitch move. So, yeah, I don't respect that. I would have respected him going up there, even if you're going to be all somber and be like, yeah, you know, we got to, but go up there and face the music, man. Like, to me, it's front running, right? It's great to talk after a win. It's great to talk when it looks like this team is wounded and down, right? All that sounds great, but again, you lose last night and you're not really a contributor and you want to stay quiet. That's why Dre told him the dynasty does start after you. You probably won't be here next year because you're not that guy. Period, point blank. You got cooked last night. You getting cooked by D'Lo?
Yeah, it's just a bad look, man. You just open yourself. We talk about that all the time. We talked about it with Baker Mayfield. You open yourself up to this extra scrutiny that you're not really built for. You're not ready for.
You're not that guy.
You
like
can't.
that.
You're not that guy like that.
You don't have the game to really. Yeah.
You don't have the game to shit to back that up. And I wonder if how the squad supports him as well.
They probably think he's goofy.
Because typically when you get down on yourself, he seems like he's down on himself type shit, right? Like,
yeah,
man, maybe I shouldn't say anything. Now I'm getting cooked. Now we've lost 2 in a row.
Well, what he said, the media tries to make me a bad guy is what he said the other day. Like, come on, bro. Shut the
looks
fuck
like
up.
we're gonna lose this series, and now it's a way different thing. Overall, where are you at with the Lakers? Ja Morant has been competing the last couple of games. What he did in game 3 was sensational.
Yeah.
Where are you at with the Lakers? Coming in, we were saying it was the old classic, no one wants to see these guys. And that's coming to fruition here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I told you before the playoffs, I thought that matchup with them and Memphis was going to be a good one because I thought that they could honestly beat Memphis and that Memphis was broken just based off some of the stuff that had happened at the regular season. Obviously, the Ja injury was massive, and it gave the Lakers a little bit of advantage there early on. But I think the Lakers right now are just a better ball club than this team. And I don't know if Memphis has what it takes to come back down 3-1. Like, we're looking, it's funny, these playoffs have been awesome. Right, like this has been some of the best playoffs that I remember. But you look up, every series is 3-1 or over with the exception of the 1-2-2 series, right? So I think that the Lakers take care of business with them, and I think that if you're Memphis, you got to kind of go back to the drawing board and say, hey, who of these guys are we actually going to keep as we put together our team, and like who needs to go? So I feel good about
Brooks.
I wouldn't re-sign him. No,
right? You wouldn't give him a deal.
No, Bane's clearly your number 2 right now. I think you're going to end up overpaying for Brooks for what he does.
Don't you need that? Don't you need that guy on the team though?
Don't
you need that type of guy just to play devil's advocate? I mean, obviously, offensively, he's not the answer.
Yeah,
he's probably a little overvalued defensively, but he does impact the game. Me and Nick, we always talk about guys that are impacting the game. Dillon Brooks does impact the game,
but not
at times.
Not at $20-25 million a year. Go sign Pat Beverly then.
Is that what he's gonna ask for?
I mean, if you're Dillon Brooks, yeah, he's gonna. It's not gonna be cheap. You're not getting him for $10 million. Go sign Pat Bev. Go sign fucking Mike Conley. Go sign one of those type guys that's gonna bring you that.
Mike Conley's not in that.
Sign Pat Bev. We saw him take the Bulls team that had fucking zero life for 90% of the season and somehow inject a ton of life into them. You can find. My point is, you can find that by not locking it up to a 4-year deal for a player. At the end of the day, you ultimately want some shooting in that spot around Ja, right? And that's not what Dillon Brooks gives you. So no, I don't like it. And then that shit last night, it really does rub me the wrong way. I want a guy who's going to face the music. Like, that says a lot about his character as a man, that you feel so chesty that you can call out LeBron for weeks on end, but then when it gets going, right, and you're down and you need to answer for your performance, you duck out the back and decide to not do media. That's a conscious decision. That is ducking the smoke, right? What did Ja say? We want
all the smoke.
We want all the smoke. We go into the chimney.
Smoke.
We go down the chimney.
Oh, right? Yes, we say.
yeah, we go down the chimney.
He said we go
Dillon
down
Brooks
the
was
chimney.
running up that motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? So like that to me isn't cool, man. Like I think, again, if you're gonna be that type of guy, own it. Like those type of guys, and to me it's like it's fake. Like that's fake tough guy shit. You're not really like that, dude. You're trying to play a persona. Like you're trying to do what you think you should do in that role. But if you were really about it, you would sit down at that fucking podium like everybody else does in the playoffs. Everybody, win or lose, and you will answer the fucking questions. Don't ask for the mic when it's convenient for you, then turn around and say, people are making me a villain. No, you didn't have to say shit.
Right.
You didn't have to say shit. That's the problem with this team, I think, just overall, is that Memphis almost took like a story that everybody was down for and really liked and made themselves unlikable, right? Regardless of how you feel about the Josh shit, right? But nobody wanted to see that. Dylan
Right.
Brooks. Nobody wants to hear that. You guys made yourself unlikable, and now you're turning around and saying, well, why doesn't anybody like us? Like, come on, man. And this guy was talking big shit all year. You're calling out Draymond. You're going after every big fish that you possibly can, right? If your NBA season includes calling out Draymond Green and LeBron James, but then you're ducking smoke, you're not really that guy. He's a fraud, a phony, a fake.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to.
So I don't want that.
It's similarly to the Michael Jordan clip from The Last Dance where he's swinging the baseball bat and he's like, sign of a good man is, are they going to, like, do they talk shit when the game starts?
100%, yes.
Are they talking shit when the game starts or when they're down 6?
Yeah.
It's
In the
easy to
suspenders.
talk shit. He said it's easy to talk when you up 6.
Yeah.
Let's see if they talk when it's 0-0 or they're down 4-5.
1,000%, bro. So like, yeah, I don't like that at all, man. I think that I think the Lakers win this series, man. And that's another team that again didn't take care of business with these home court advantages. Win both the first 2 at home, you're not in this situation. But again, answer for your crimes, Dylan Brooks. Show up, be a man. It's soft. It's actually we used to give out cornball of the day. Let's bring that back for this week's special segment. Cornball of the week is Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, facts.
Corny as fuck. Don't respect it. Don't honor it. Can't smoke with you. None of it.
Can't hang with you.
Can't
smoke with you. Can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. Not gonna be able to do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Let's talk about this Knicks Cavs series. I've been in the building for all these games.
Love it.
Atmosphere has been electric. The Knicks up 3-1 going back to Cleveland, and the home court advantage in the Garden cannot be understated.
For sure.
Let me explain to you what happened in game 4, excuse me. The crowd is absolutely bonkers. The Knicks come out and take care of business the first 2 quarters, go into half up. I don't know if it was double digits, but it was close. They were up like 8 or 9 going into half. They come out, start of the third, myself included, are down in the lounge, hanging out, going to the bathroom, grabbing a quick bite to eat, coming back. And by the time the crowd got back in their seats with 9 minutes left in the third quarter, it was a tie game. This series is so emotional, and the Knicks run off of high emotion. As soon as the crowd got back in the seats and they settled back down, the Knicks went on a run, took care of business, ended up winning the game handily down the stretch. Donovan Mitchell is an absolute no-show. I believe he took 4 shots in the second half. Unacceptable.
Yeah, for sure.
This is also something this is a hill I'll die on. If my superstar is cold, I don't care. Go out 0 of 15 in the fourth.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Do not shrink up in a spot and take 4 shots in the second half. Can't happen from Donovan Mitchell. RJ Barrett has 2 massive games.
Trick or treat, RJ.
Trick or treat.
Your boy.
When he plays well, he plays well. When he plays poorly,
He sucks.
it tends to snowball.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful what I say here about the Knicks.
You can be honest. So RJ gonna show up to the studio? Well, he's Canadian, man. He's a nice guy. He's not gonna spend it.
When he's rolling and gets rolling, he's very good. But he gets wrapped up in the mental piece of the game sometimes.
Can't shoot.
Now, the issue that I find interesting that's going to happen now here coming down the stretch is Julius Randle didn't play the end of the game. Tibbs stayed with the guys that were rolling, Obi Toppin, Josh Hart. Those guys were killing. RJ was killing.
Obi Toppin game, and I literally just put in the group chat, is Obi Toppin good? And the next thing you know, Obi Toppin goes off crazy. So
Obi Toppin played his ass off.
Yeah, excellent minutes.
Excellent minutes, impactful minutes, hit his open shots, got his open looks,
Hardenstein
played extremely well, had 8 boards.
Great minutes.
The fact the Cavs have been hanging their hat all year on having 2 bigs that are versatile and can do a lot of different things. And Isaiah Hardenstein and Mitchell Robinson
outplayed the fuck out of them.
Are killing them.
Yeah.
Especially in game 4.
Hardenstein in game 4. Hardenstein in game 4 on the glass was incredible. He looked like he was 7'8" out there and everybody else was 6'2". Like, I mean, he was towering over folks for offensive rebounds. He's stuffing shit at the rim. Hardenstein was awesome in that game. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he was just awesome.
So that is an interesting storyline to keep an eye on, right? Because I do believe the Cavs go back to Cleveland and take care of business. They have to. It's going to be desperation mode. And the Knicks are going to be looking for that jolt from the crowd that they will get at Madison Square Garden if they do end up losing in game 6. That's going to be a sight to see. I wish I was going to be in the building. I'm going to be out of town this coming weekend. But where are you at with the Knicks? How far can they really push it? How disappointed are you in the Cavs and how they're showing up? Darius Garland has been trick or treat up and down as well in this series. Where are you at with the series overall? And talk to me about the Knicks and where you think they could actually push it.
So I was never a massive Cavs believer to begin with. I thought it was a fun year for them, but I thought if you really look at their season, they were up and down a lot. I think they kind of hung their hat on defense, but would have nights offensively where they just stunk. I think at times the Garland and Mitchell thing can look awkward. And I think that they relied on a lot of big Mitchell performances to carry them through. And when you're not getting those, that thing starts to get real stagnant on offense. And I think you saw that glaringly in game 4. So I'll start with that. With the Knicks thing, I could not agree more with you that the Knicks ride off emotion, which I'll say it now for the 3rd straight series that we're talking about. That is why Cleveland had to protect that home court advantage. You knew the Knicks were getting both those at the Garden. We talked about game 3. Game 3 was probably the all-time betting spot to take the Knicks. Like, there was no chance, just not a single chance. When you're listening to the broadcast and you can't hear the guys talk because it is so loud in the arena, like, the emotion of that was crazy. Then you go to game 4, it's the same exact thing. It's ridiculously loud. They're feeding off the crowd. Whenever they do anything, it's like one of those. It's like when Tiger would hit a big putt on a Sunday, and all of a sudden the gallery explodes. Like, that's what was happening with those Knicks games, but it was happening 40 times a game because you're talking.
It's coming through on TV.
It's coming through on TV, like, majorly, like to the point where, like, I was gonna send it through because I knew you were there. Like, Sean, is it that loud? Because I cannot hear the announcers. Like, they try to drown out the crowd noise with all the stuff that they have, and it just wasn't working, because you end up drowning out your announcers. So, and then, again, you're talking about a Tibbs coach team. You're talking about a very emotional group just to begin with, whether it's Randall, whether it's Brunson, whether it's some of the guys that they bring off the bench. Like, they're feeding off that shit. So it's another reason why you could not drop 1 of 2 in Cleveland, which they did. And now you find yourself in a really bad situation if you are the Cavaliers, is that you're down 3-1 with a lot of questions against a team who can outplay you and out-hustle you. And like you said, your 2 advantage of your 2 bigs, Allen and Mobley, and the versatility that they bring, especially defensively. Well, none of that matters if they're getting outworked, right? Like, none of that matters if you throw in a Hardenstein who's all work. If you throw in a Mitchell Robinson who's all work, you know what I mean? Like, you might have skill with Mobley and Allen, but those guys are out there out hustling you. So, and with the fact that, look, it's funny as we're talking, it came out a couple hours ago in an NBA poll, the coach that opposing players would least like to play for is Tom Thibodeau, right? Which I thought is very interesting. One of the reasons is I heard this is what the quote says. One player said to Tibbs, he plays this guy 44 minutes a game all year. I've heard from guys, if he likes you, if you're his guy, he'll treat you great. He'll play you a lot, talk to you, so you'll fuck with him in that sense. But if you're on the outside, it's like you're not getting back in. And look, we've been talking about that for Tibbs forever. I told you with the Randall show, I said, remember Carlos Boozer? The Bulls gave Boozer $75 million, and Tibbs would sit him in the 4th quarter for Todd Gibson.
That's actually a good example.
He would sit Joe Kim for Omer Ashik. Tibbs has his guy, so it was not surprising. Someone would text me like, oh, is Randall going back? And I said, not a chance. Yeah. If you know Tibbs, Not a chance. He's not putting you back in because your contract says so or your stature said so. Toppin and Hardenstein and Robinson were his guy, or Toppin and Hardenstein
and Hart
was cooking. And it's like,
yeah.
I'm not taking those guys out. Why would I? This is a basketball game. So, I mean, if you're Randall, yeah, you got to deal with it. It might be a tough thing to swallow, but you got to deal with that. You get your minutes. And you understand, you've been playing for Tibbs now for 3 years. You understand the deal. You know what it looks like, and this is just, it wasn't your turn tonight. So I think, I think this Knicks team at the Garden is absolutely unbeatable. So knowing that they have one more game at the Garden on the schedule, I don't see how Cleveland wins. I don't see Cleveland beating them in Madison Square Garden in Game 6. I could see Cleveland winning Game 5. I do not see them beating them in Madison Square Garden in Game 6. No fucking way. That place is going to be absolutely electric. It's going to be on fire.
Now let's talk about this. The most load managed team in the NBA is probably the Clippers, wouldn't you say? With their superstars and how they treat Paul George.
I'd say so.
And and how they treat Kawhi Leonard, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it funny for all the flack that Tibbs gets and they practice and how many minutes everybody plays? No, the whole team is healthy. No one's hurt. And they haven't been hurt all year.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how that works? So I think that's interesting. No one has really brought that up. Everyone complains about Thibodeau playing his guys 40 minutes and they practice, but everybody's healthy and fit and playing hard in the playoffs. Meanwhile, you look at the Clippers and their 2 guys aren't available. So say what you want about it. Randall played 77 straight games and missed the last 5 on a fluke, stepped on foot, turned ankle.
He's on pace for 8 games, right?
He was going to play 82, 100%. Yeah. And I believe he could have came back earlier, but they just kind of gave him a couple of days off. They were locked into that 5 slot, so there was no need to, rush him back to get him back in the fold, let him rest the ankle and get back. But for the flack that everybody gives Tibbs for playing guys tons of minutes, his team is healthy, and they look spry and ready to roll in the playoffs.
It is talking out of both sides of the mouth because, we criticize load management and all that, but then we criticize Tibbs for doing the exact opposite.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll speak for me. I don't necessarily criticize him. I just know that's what it is.
That's what it is.
So he's gonna play his guys for tons of minutes. So that's
and it can be game by game, week by week.
Yeah,
you just saw it in that game. He left Julius Randle on the bench because the Obi Toppin spot was producing more for him in that very moment, and he had no problem doing it. So it'll be interesting to see how Randle takes it. Obviously, you might be close to that situation and kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. But again, if I'm Randle, you kind of just got to take it on the chin.
Let's talk about that for a second, because another guy that left and didn't talk to the media was Julius Randle.
Yeah.
After a big win. You're up 3-1. You're going back to Cleveland now. Everybody's taking care of business. And you get sat in the fourth. You don't play very good. You're the highest paid guy on the roster. And you leave and you don't talk to the media. Now, it's a tough look because this would have been a very easy layup of a press conference.
Yep.
I wasn't playing well. RJ was cooking. Obi was playing well. You just praise.
I trust Tibbs.
I trust my teammates, my coach, and I'll be ready game 5. That's all you gotta say. But it seems like he has a hard time getting there, and he can't do it. And that may potentially be an issue at some point.
If you're his teammates, for sure. And that's why, I think that's why you keep a guy like Derrick Rose around on the roster. Like if I'm Tibbs or if I'm D Rose, honestly, and I'm sure it's already happened. If I'm D Rose, I'm definitely at Randall's apartment, his flat that night, and
his flat
that night, in Chelsea or wherever it is that he rests his head in that magnificent city. And I'm talking to him, say, hey, look, man, I'm a former MVP. I was great in the playoffs 2 years ago, and Tibbs played me in 25 games this year. It's just kind of how it is, man. You got to take it. You'll be back out there, big fella. You're still the face of the franchise. You know what I mean? We need you, but you just got to shake it off. So I'm hoping that conversation was had. Again, I think that's why you keep a Derrick Rose on your roster. Like Tibbs needs. Remember in Minnesota, even it shouldn't get in New York, he'd have like Taj Gibson and all his former guys. There's a reason he has his former guys on the roster. Number one, he trusts them. He was giving Taj minutes, and number two, someone has to explain to
relay the
message. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I played for this guy for a long time, and this is just Derrick Rose has been with this man on and off for 10 years. You know what I mean? So he understands it, and I think that's just kind of what it is. You can't take it personal. He's not mad at you, but again, you were rolling, and it was the right decision. So are you here to win, or are you here to be the reason why you win, right? And I think that that's tough. It's a tough question. It's easy for you and I who aren't in that spot and never have been to sit here and say how you should be, but I get it. You know what I mean? It's probably been a tough year for Julius back and forth too, because while the team's been winning, it's also like, hey, we're winning because we finally got somebody to come in here and take the ball out of your hands. I mean, that is the truth, right? The reason that you're winning is that you brought in Brunson, who effectively took the ball out of Randall's hands and plays great with them. Now, Randall still had an awesome year, right? But you being the man, you being the alpha, you being everything runs through us didn't work for them. So I think that there's been a lot of swallowing their pride if you're Julius Randle, and this is just the latest situation of it. But man, you can't do that in the playoffs, dog. Like you can't. To me, again, it's not Dylan Brooks level of dodging the media, because I think that's different. But it's dodging the media, and I don't, like you said, you could go up there and fake it if you have to, right? Like part of that maturity process, part of that leadership process is understanding, okay, I might feel this way about that, but I'm going to just go up there and just put on the good face, wear the company hat, and, cheer for the team. But to not go, now it opens up a week of questions, right?
Yeah.
Puts you in the spotlight. They're going to be talking about it pregame. They're going to be looking how you interact with Tibbs. If you lose, it's going to be asked about after this press conference because you can't miss this one. So it just creates a shitty situation, man.
To play devil's advocate, this is purely just for conversation. I want to get your opinion on this. Do superstars should he be on the floor no matter what?
No.
Coming down the stretch, because there's a list of guys that are on the floor no matter what. Doesn't matter. 6 minute mark, 7 minute mark. The horn is going off and guys are getting off the bench. You don't think that should be the case in this type of situation?
No, and I think that's why I respect Tibbs, because he goes with the hot hand. I mean, you can say, hey, this guy needs to go in, that guy needs to go in, but it's like, look, we're winning now. I mean, if you look at that game, that lineup was absolutely killing the Cavs.
They were cooking the Cavs.
That lineup was absolutely killing the Cavaliers. They could not do anything with that lineup. The energy that they brought, right? Topping what he was doing. He was just out there doing things. RJ Barrett was absolutely fucking cooking. And we talk about it. He's trick or treat. Well, it was treat for RJ Barrett in the fourth. Yeah. So you kind of had to roll with him. Hart. Look, man, we talked about it when they picked up Hart. You and I both said Tibbs is going to love this guy.
Massive.
Gonna love this guy. Just a player.
Pickup.
He's just a player. There's no extraness. Like, he's just a good, solid, smart player and has been for a while. So we knew Tibbs was gonna love that guy. But when you have guys producing like that, now it can get tricky, because sometimes these Hardenstein type guys can really only produce in like 3-minute spurts. And if you ride them too long, they start to show their warts. But he felt confident with it, man. And like, you got to trust a veteran head coach who's able to kind of feel the pulse of what's going on out there. So I respect it, because obviously it was the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, it was the right decision. And at no point did it seem like it wasn't the right decision. I think when it starts to get shaky with these second units, you have to pull them, because you don't want these guys, again, you don't want these guys to kind of show their flaws. But it was never getting shaky. Cleveland couldn't do anything about it. Plus, there was no Donovan Mitchell looming on the other side, because he was clearly way out of it. So I had no problem with it, man. I think that's how it should be. You got to ride the hot hand. And that's just the way it is. We're here to win, man.
We're here to win.
We're here to fucking win, bro.
That's what it comes down to.
I'm not here to play you 40 minutes because you make $30 million. I'm not here to play you 40 minutes because you're first team All NBA or because your picture's up there on the billboard. Tibbs doesn't believe in none of that shit, and he never has. Let's go back to the problems in Chicago. This is a stubborn man. Stubborn man. You can go back during those Bulls days. Tibbs is unapologetic in what he does. Paxson came down to practice, sat down on the sidelines to watch, and Tibbs picked up the practice and moved it to another court. These are true stories from the Bulls days. Can you imagine? This is the president of the team comes and sits down to watch practice, and you say, we're going over there. This man does not care. He is not here to make you feel good about yourself. He's not here to reaffirm your title. He's not here to do what you think should be done or to be PC or to follow the norms. He's here to coach and win basketball games. And there's a reason he's done it everywhere he's at. And if you don't like it, guess what? He doesn't give a shit. Fire me, somebody else will hire me. This is a man who's been dodging firing rumors for 2 years now in New York. If it didn't get done this year, Tibbs is out. Remember, before the year, Tibbs might be out. Because he's a tough guy to deal with, because I guarantee you, Worldwide West and who's my man's Leon Rose, who I'm still surprised is not black. Dead ass. When I first saw Leon Rose, I was fucking shooketh. So we'll go down there and probably suggest things to him, and Tibbs closes the fucking door.
No, I think they got a great relationship.
I'm sure they do.
I think that's why it's working.
I'm sure they do.
At the moment, for
but
sure.
They're not going in there telling Tibbs what lineup to run or none of that. It's great until you try to step on his toes.
No question.
That's what I do. So, yeah, man, I have no problem with it. I love it, and we need more of that in the NBA, man.
Let's see what happens with the Knicks. Let's get these last 5 minutes to Aaron Rodgers, officially a New York Jet.
Real quick. Only because it's tied 2-2. Oh. Everything else is wrapped up. Where are you? Celtics Hawks wrapped up, right? We're Suns Clippers is wrapped up, correct?
Yep.
Kawhi's not going to play in Game 5. Kings Warriors, where are we? With the news of the Aaron Fox hand injury. Yeah.
When did that happen, by the way?
I have no idea.
I watched the whole game.
Yeah, I don't know.
The guy hit the three, there was 10 seconds left.
It's like when LeBron broke his wrist that year. Left. Remember when LeBron all of a sudden was
he showed up to the presser, bro. So yeah, I don't know when the injury happened. That's a real bummer, because similarly to Madison Square Garden, I'm not sure you can win at Arco or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, whatever it is. Golden One, is the Golden One Nugget Center?
Golden One or whatever. Yeah, I think it is Golden. Is it Golden One?
Golden Nugget. Golden One
whatever.
Nugget.
Who cares?
No, Golden One, wherever it is. Yeah, it's a tough place to play.
Very tough place to play, and I don't see the Warriors getting W's there. And
this is the curse. Hey, wait, real quick. Could it be the curse of E40 though to come back? Because you and I both went to ASU, man. If y'all don't understand, in the Bay Area, E40 is like
Bay is. Yeah, it's a different.
It's just a different world up there. It's a whole different world up there
for those guys. Yeah, no question about it. But on the series itself, I just think it's with Fox hurt, it's dead.
It's dead.
So I would need to see some more details on that. But I'm very impressed with Malik Monk. I'm very impressed with just overall their effort and what they've been doing. I thought they should have won Game 4.
Yeah.
I thought Golden State was fortunate to get out with a W there. I tweeted this, man. The last play of the game, there's 10.6 seconds left. Why are we throwing the ball in the backcourt? De'Aaron Fox runs to go get the ball. He catches it at the 3-point line. He burns up 4 seconds to get back to the 3-point line. Steph Curry gives him a little jab step on D. We're now down to 5 seconds. Then he sees Draymond Green with 4.5 seconds. And now he's completely rushed. The possession is rushed. They don't know what they're going to do to close the game.
You didn't need a 3.
You didn't need a 3.
You needed a 2. 2 would have won the game. So
right. So it's just, I didn't really like that. I didn't like the what they did offensively coming down the stretch there. But if I had to pick a squad right now with the Darren Fox thing, I guess it's got to be the Warriors. But before if Fox was healthy, I would actually take the Kings. Where are you at with it?
I think I was taking Warriors, and this is, for me, this is a shocker. But I was taking Warriors regardless. I think they absolutely, again, fourth straight series to talk about it. They need to steal one in Golden State. Because I think that what happens is, you win your first two at home like you're supposed to, but man, you go up there and you let this team win two, and you get momentum with them. You just don't want the Warriors to have any momentum or type of belief. I think you put them down 3-1, and you just put them in a bad spot, like you said, where you got 2 games left at Arco or Golden One Nugget. Someone give us the name of the fucking
the Vivek Center, the Beam
Center. Randiv. Yeah, like the Beam. But I think now, to be honest, I think the momentum is squarely in Golden State's favor, and I think they close them out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Golden State won the next 2 and closed them out in 6, 4 straight.
Well, if they win the next game in Sac,
it's over with.
It's over with.
Yeah.
So let's see where that nets.
Quick bus ride, yeah.
No doubt. All right, last couple minutes before we get out of here on Aaron Rodgers, officially a New York Jet. They send him over. Thought it was a pretty fair deal.
I didn't.
Across the board. You feel like the Jets got him.
Well, I just don't understand the pick swap to me. I don't understand why you couldn't just get that pick. Why are you because essentially to me 13 and 15, if you're not looking for a quarterback, cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Right? 13 and 15, it's just a cancellation, right? Unless you're targeting a quarterback there's not a huge difference between 13 and 15. And then I guess, I like the fact that you pick up the second. So to me, you got Aaron Rodgers for a second this year, a 6th this year, and a conditional 2/1 next year. Which, okay, 39-year-old quarterback that did not want to be on his current roster anymore, and they couldn't wait to get him out the building. I get it. But if I'm the Packers, I just felt like I had all the leverage in the world. When it comes to financial, you're taking the cap hit regardless.
See,
right?
I'm on the exact opposite. Theoretically, you have the leverage, but you want to move the fuck on.
Well, that was going to be my next point. So you want to officially, you've already moved to the Jordan Love era, but as long as he's still quote unquote on the roster, you have it. But it's just, to me, it seems like the Jets were in a situation where it's a worse situation for the Jets not to get it done than the Packers not to get it done, because now Mike White is somewhere else. You have essentially whatever confidence Zach Wilson may have had left, and I don't think there was a lot of it, it's completely gone now. Because you spent the whole offseason courting every other quarterback that's not named Zach Wilson and not even mentioning a peep of his name. So you would have left yourself in what people think is a Super Bowl or at least a contending roster with a worse quarterback situation somehow than what you had last year, because, again, you lost Mike White. And then your fans are looking at you like, y'all couldn't get this Rodgers thing fucking done. So I think a lot of pressure would have been on the Jets. Whereas the Packers, it's like, hey, if we keep him on the roster, eventually he's just going to retire. We're eating the money regardless. It is what it is. So I would have said, no way are you getting 15 from me. Just give me 13, right? And then if you're the Packers, you're picking at 13, 15, and a second-round pick. So I was just kind of surprised that they had to do that pick swap. It seemed very Garpaxy to me that you have to include a pick in there to kind of sweeten it. But either way, I'm happy it got done. It's across the line. If you're the Packers, you got to feel relieved because you got him out the building. I also think you don't need to do him any favors, so why not let him sweat a little bit?
Well, what we've been
saying,
an
asshole on the way out, but yeah.
What we've been saying is the Jets weren't going to give up 15. There's no reason for them to give up 15.
I think it was 13.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So we'll just draft at 13, and then we'll get Rodgers after that. Packers wanted to get it done before the draft. That's why you saw the pick swap. Like that was where they met in the middle, I guess. So,
but do you think they needed to?
If you want to get it done before the draft so you can start to fill out your roster around Jordan Love and move on, yeah.
Shit. Wait until you get to training camp and they line up Zach Wilson out there, and it's like, oh shit, we really do need to bring Aaron Rodgers in. If you're the Jets, though, you also want to get Rodgers in the building immediately.
But that's the thing. You were going to get him anyway because he said he's coming. That's why it's like a really interesting situation. It's like, if he's going to come and I'm confident we're going to get it done, I'll just pick this week in the draft, and then we'll figure out what else we got to do to get Rodgers after that, because Rodgers is coming. So That's where I'm at. We haven't even talked NFL draft. We got Will Levis.
Well, here, real quick, let me say this then. Now that it's done, right?
Yeah.
The pressure is squarely on Aaron Rodgers, right? I'll say this. The most brilliant thing that Aaron Rodgers has done, especially over the last few years, is convince us that it is not his fault. It's the organization.
Yeah, it is.
It's the lack of skill players.
It has been.
It's the bad defense.
It's true.
It's drafting a quarterback after my MVP year.
That is egregious.
Wait. It's everything but my fault. It's not my fault I couldn't go into Detroit and score more than 9 points. It's not my fault I couldn't outduel Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs last year. It's the organization's fault, right? So it's not my fault we got one Super Bowl in the 20 years that I've been here. I've only been to one. It's not my fault. None of that is my fault.
Let me ask you something.
I'm just telling you. This is what he told us. It's not my fault. It's a beautiful mystery. It's not my fault. Right? Well, guess what? All that's gone. You got skill position players in New York. You got a defense. You got a situation that's clearly going to cater to you from day one. You're going to feel like the man. You might as well put on the Joe Namath coat because that's how they're going to treat you in New York. You know this, right? So you're there. There's no excuses. They're going to placate to you. They're going to do everything you need done. It's going to be your situation. You might be able to call the fucking plays. It's going to be all you. So now, shut up and go out there and show us that you can win meaningful ball games. Because you know what? We've seen you win a ton of regular season games. We've seen you be an awesome regular season quarterbacks. But regardless of what you want to say, you have not gotten it done in big spots. And you've skated past the real responsibility of not getting it done in big spots because you get ahead of it and blame everybody else before it happens. So we all are sympathetic to you. Yeah, that's what he's done. It's his greatest trick. What do they say in it was that what's the movie, Kevin Spacey?
The Illusion of the
greatest trick the devil ever played is convincing you he doesn't exist. That's it. Greatest trick Aaron Rodgers ever played was convincing you it's not his fault. Even though we blame every other quarterback in these situations, it's not Rodgers' fault because he got ahead of it early. He tells you before the season with McAfee, it's not my fault. Hey, look, man, whatever happens, man. I'm on mushrooms, hyacintha, and dark room. Hey, listen, man, it's not my fault. Well, guess what? Now it's time, bro. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear any condescending press conferences. I don't want to hear any Tuesdays with McAfee where you blame everybody else. Take off the fucking beanies. Turn off the steam from the sauna. You're in New York now. Act like it.
You know what? And you know what? He is.
He is what?
He's going to show up. They're going to be sensational, the Jets. The Jets have a whip.
We should double down on our Arsenal bet because that's already dust for me right now. I might as well just fucking send you some Wagyu. But so we can add to it.
You're in the camp that they're not going to be that good.
Oh, I think they could be. I'm not in the camp that he instantly I think they're going to be good. I don't know what I'm talking about. They're going to be good. They'll be fine. I have no problem. I think they're going to be good. The question is, are they going to be good when it matters? If he goes there and they go 13-4 and lose in the divisional round, I'm not going to be impressed. It's only about the playoffs for me.
So it's AFC champ or bust, basically.
It's Super Bowl or bust, man. It is get to the Super Bowl. Do something you haven't done in 15 years. I've seen you in championship games. I'm not impressed by that. You ain't showing me nothing new, SA. Impress me, dog.
Aaron Rodgers,
win when it counts.
Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are going to be very, very good in the AFC coming up here.
Great. What does that mean? So for you, it's not Super Bowl appearance? Because to me, anything short of a Super Bowl appearance in these next, assuming he plays 2 years, is a failure to me. Because you told us.
I can agree with that. But I think if I had to guess, I lean that they can win the AFC in the next 2 years.
Yeah, they better.
So it's murderer's row over there, though. I do know that.
Yeah, you just went to. Oh yeah, and also, hey, look, buddy, you had a fucking.
It was cushy.
It was cushy. A speed pass to the playoffs every year, playing in this terrible division of the land of no quarterbacks. Right, your best quarterback in the division over your whole entire career has either been Matt Stafford or Kirk Cousins. It's not exactly tough competition for you here. So yeah, you were winning the NFC North every single year. Now you're going to the division that's tough. right? Josh Allen's in the division, right?
Yeah.
Why am I Tua's in the division. Who's the fourth team in the AFC East?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones sucks, but they can scheme some things over there. You know, it hasn't exactly been a fun place for the Jets to play over the years, so they've always had problems there. So there you go.
Stay
and
tuned.
Again, he's going to a team that told us that they were a quarterback away. You don't have to be spectacular. There's a team that I think was the third or fourth lowest scoring team in the NFL last year and still won 7 ball games despite their quarterback play. So all you got to do is be okay. So if you are that guy, you take them to 12 wins and you get them where they need to go. Because I don't want to hear about it anymore, man. I don't want to hear it anymore. No more bullshit. No more throwing everybody under the bus except for self. No more not taking accountability for your role in it. It's just put up or shut up time for this guy, man. I know it's your boy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to be very good, but the AFC is very loaded. Football around the corner. NBA playoffs are absolutely rolling. Sprinkle some hockey in there too. Man. It's been a lot of fun. You already know.
Last night. Yeah, it was great.
For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. iTunes, Spotify. Pass the link to the homie to another homie, and then tell that homie to pass the link to a homie. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk Chicago. We'll see y'all next time.